Let's talk about one of the best level ups you can have as an Etsy dropshipper, and that's using a private supplier. And it can be a bit scary to use a private supplier, switching over to a new system, trusting them, sending them, thousands of dollars, hoping that they send your orders out. So let's talk about how to do it, what to do, and all that jazz, and make sure you're not going to get scammed. But first, what is a private supplier? Well, a private supplier is in theory another middleman, right? You're already a middleman between your customer and the product, right? So this private supplier comes into the middle. So you have a product, right? You then get it off your supplier, who then finds the best supplier, sends the product back to the supplier, right? So let me go over this again. So you ordered a product from your private supplier. He then goes and finds a factory for that product. Then the factory sends it to your private supplier. Your private supplier now has it in-house and they deal with the shipping to your customer, right? So it's basically AliExpress 1688 Alibaba on steroids, right? Super easy, super quick, a lot more personal. You build great connections with your suppliers and you get super quick shipping. So where do you find a trusted one? Well, in Etsy Mafia, we give private suppliers to everyone. It's discord.gg/Etsy. You just come over to here, go to the private suppliers tab or the use supplier tab if you're new. Then there's a whole setup guide, but you just basically choose one of the suppliers. So here we have Andrew, some of the details about him. He's in Shenzhen and what he can offer, right? Then what you're going to do is when you press speak to Andrew, this is going to pop up. You give him some information, where do you sell? You don't have to just be on Etsy. Maybe you do Etsy and Shopify. Maybe you do Etsy and TikTok Shop or Shopify alone. Whatever, how many orders do you do? Are you using a SKU system? If you're using Shopify, you might have an ERP system. Do you do personalized products and any information, right? So that's all in discord.gg/Etsy. Super easy. Everyone gets those suppliers. Super trusted. So how do your private suppliers source these products for you? Well, there's multiple ways, right? A super easy one, right, that not many people do is, okay, you found a product that's doing well. You can't find it anywhere. You can't find an AliExpress link, an Alibaba 1688 or anything, right? But you have pictures. So send over some pictures of your products, right? Here's the products. This is what I'm after, right? Can you source these? And they'll try. The other way is you send 1688 links, AliExpress links, Alibaba links, even, Amazon, Etsy, Temu. Send links to them so they get all the information and they can find a supplier. Or you can send descriptive info, descriptors of products. Hi, Andrew, I'm looking for, some kind of fidget ring that maybe has some moon designs on. Can you source that? This one is probably better to do with a private supplier once you have a better relationship. Don't just go wasting their time on stuff like this, right? So they've sourced your products. Now what do? You do a SKU database, right? Where can I put this? Yeah. So SKU database. It looks something like this. It keeps everything organized. It keeps everything referenced. It can be updated all the time. And, it just gives your supplier all the information about your products, right? So they're a lot easier to create than you think. You can set them up for photos, links, etc. Right? So on this example here, okay, so we have product. Here's the product name. Here's the link to the product, right? This is an AliExpress link. Maybe it's a photo in there. Maybe it's a 1688 link, a Temu link, whatever. Then on AliExpress, there's different SKUs, there's different product variations, etc. Right? And they're just referenced here. And now we have the internal SKU. So this is our SKU that's on our Etsy stores that goes into our order sheets, right? So when they're in the order sheet and they go, okay, here's this SKU, they copy it, paste it, look in here, and they go, okay, so that is the mushroom decorative lamp. There's the link. Here's the reference on AliExpress, the variation on AliExpress. It's that one, okay. And then this can be filled out, and it's like, right, okay, it's $12, lovely, boom, right? So it's basically like a primary key in a data. It's basically a database reference point, right? Where they come in, they have this from the order sheet, they copy it, boom, into the SKU database, paste it, boom. Okay, there it is. Pull all the information, they've got it. So yeah, that's how that works. Now, to send your orders off, right, this is the information you need. If you want downloadable copies of this, it is all in Etsy Mafia 2 for you just to download, so you don't have to create it yourself. But here's a good example of an order sheet, right? So we have the date, you know, pretty standard. The order number, just for reference. The item, no, that's the item name in the SKU database. Our SKU, right? Our internal SKU. Here, boom. How many of it did the customer order? Name of the customer, country of the order, customer state if necessary, city, zip code, then the street's address, right? The variation, tracking, and then the private supplier fills in the tracking information here, right? Yeah, very, very easy. Again, we have a tool you can download and plug into your Chrome that will do this all automatically with whatever data you want to pull off all your Etsy orders. So that's in Etsy Mafia. You can grab that. Now, paying. You got to pay your suppliers, right? How do they accept payments? Basically anything. Basically, if you've got money, they will get a way for you to get it to them. You know, PayPal, Ping Pong is like some Chinese payment processor. You just sign up, they give you an invoice, you put your card details in, boom, pay it. Bank transfer, right? Crypto, some accept crypto, not all the time. Don't go trying to pay crypto day one. Build up a relationship and then maybe you can get into crypto, right? And they accept multiple currencies, euros, pounds, US dollars, whatever, right? It's super, super easy. So now you've paid them, you've sent your order sheet off, you've paid them. They will now be sending back your order sheet, let me go to it, with the tracking column filled in for all of your customers' tracking numbers for their orders, right? So you've sent that off, you've got it back, you've got all your tracking. You then now go and update your customers, right? You then go and plug in these tracking numbers to your customers on Etsy. So guess what? They're now being aware of what's happening. It's all updating. If this takes you longer than 10-20 minutes to plug tracking numbers in, you're making enough money to delegate this task to a VA. Outsource it, bring a VA in. It's a headache, it's a nightmare, it's annoying, it's repetitive, it's grunt work. So if you can, you bring a VA in, right? And now the customers are keeping updated. Very, 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 very important, and people don't realize this. When you get the tracking back immediately, it does not mean the private supplier has already sent the item off. They have just generated the label. They have just created the label that's going to be on that customer's order. They then have to go. Let me go back to stage one. Right. They then. Never mind. It's not wanting to scroll. I can't figure it out. So they then have to go to the factory, get the item, send it to them. They then take off any Chinese writing, anything like this, repackage it, label, boom, send it to your customer. Right. So it's going to take a few days for them to do that. Okay, so please don't be expecting, day one that you're going to have updated tracking numbers. It's going to be dispatched and it's going to be on the way and it's going to be on a plane from China coming over, right? It's not going to happen. But this is basically just a quick breakdown of why private suppliers are going to level up your Etsy stores. They're going to really allow you to scale. No more are you going to have to just be doing one order fulfillments on AliExpress one by one and you've got 25 orders to do. None of that. All in an order sheet that you can automate with the tool in Etsy Mafia to the Etsy Mafia suppliers. Boom. Super, super easy. So if you're not using the private supplier and you are getting orders, it's time to level up and get started.